Hi, I hope you are having an amazing day. I am finally back to filming YouTube videos. I have been sick with a cold for the past week, so please forgive me when I cough and splutter and sound like shit. It's not fully gone away, but I really wanted to get back into filming videos, so here I am. It is winter here in Brisbane, and it has been really cold and everyone's been getting sick, and I was really tired the week before, and then I think that's just how it hit me, but I am glad to be getting better, and in the whole scheme of things it is really not that bad. But sorry, I sound like shit. Today I want to chat about this book, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. So this is a book that I read last month. I actually read it twice. So the first time I just read through start to finish, didn't put in any of these tabs. The second time is when I read through it and used the system that I use for personal development style books. So this is that system. So the green tabs are for reflection, pink quotes I love, orange is to do, and yellow is book recommendations. There's only one book recommendation that I was interested in checking out, and this book is written a long time ago. So the book recommendation is How to Live 365 Days a Year by Dr. Schindler. So but I still like to put that tab in there because books, if you like them and they recommend other books, those other books are usually quite good. So it's a great way to get book recommendations. But yeah, so this book is about the magic of thinking big, but it's also just generally about how to be successful. And at the front, at the very beginning of the book, it talks about what successful means, and that it's not just wealthy, it's financial freedom, but then also having amazing relationships and just having all your areas of life how you want them to be, rather than any particular amount of money in the bank or anything. It's quite funny too, reading this book, because it was written, I want to say, in like the 60s, 1959. So when they talk about money in this book, the money sounds like very small amounts because of the time, and a lot's changed since then. And it's talking about people earning $10,000 in a year, which now is, wouldn't happen, but that was a normal salary then. Anyway, even though it is an old book, it is not outdated. It can be a little corny. There are a few bits that you just kind of like, oh, that kind of makes me cringe how corny it is. But those bits are worth overlooking because most of it, almost all of it, is absolutely amazing. I've just tabbed a few little ideas that I wanted to mention, but I highly recommend checking this book out, especially if you have a similar perfectionist mindset to me, which means you are scared of failing, you're scared of rejection, you're scared of doing anything that you might not be able to do well. So yeah, highly recommend. I did read it twice, back to back. Like I was reading it on the train, and I got to the end, I was like, okay, back to the beginning. Like it's really good, and it didn't take long to read. The writing is quite big, so it's a really easy read. So a few of the things that I loved, there was a lot, and there's a lot of highlighting, but there are just a few that I wanted to mention. The first one is just this little quote. It says, remind yourself regularly that you are better than you think you are. Successful people are not supermen. Success does not require a super intellect, nor is there anything mystical about success. And success isn't based on luck. Successful people are just ordinary folks who have developed belief in themselves and what they do. Never, yes, never sell yourself short. That is something I really struggle with, and I'm getting coaching on it at the moment. But I think, especially as perfectionists, we really tend to hold this idea of success that it does require more than we currently have, when that's not necessarily true at all. But we really put successful people on a pedestal and compare ourselves, and we forget that they are just people like us who have just put in the work and been persistent. And I really just love that quote, because if we put successful people as well on that pedestal, it lets us off the hook, because we can say, oh, I'm not like them, so that's why I don't have what they have. But it really makes yourself accountable when you say, oh no, that person is like me and they have just done X, Y, and Z that I'm not yet prepared to do. It makes you a lot more accountable than saying, oh no, they're just different, they're naturally talented. There is natural talent, but it has basically, I think, nothing to do with success, because there are people with natural talent who don't use it and they get cocky, and they essentially just don't do anything to develop that talent, and they are overtaken by people who work hard and have the growth mindset and are willing to learn. And I'm trying to shift out of the fixed mindset, which is the belief that we all have a natural talent / capability, and everything we do is a reflection of how much natural talent we have. I'm getting out of that mindset and into the growth mindset, which is everything can be learned and improved, and really there's no such thing as natural talent. So I did talk about that a bit in my other video, where I talked about the book Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. It is such a good book. The next thing I want to talk about is just these 3 little words right here. Action cures fear. And I think this one, when I read that, I was like, damn, that is so good. Action does cure fear, in the sense that usually the scary bit is what we build up in our head and our mind before we do something. And once we take action and actually start doing things, that is when we realize that, oh, it's not actually so bad, or, oh, the worst case scenario, A, probably won't happen, B, is reversible, C, isn't even bad, as I was saying. So I did mention this in one of the emails I sent out when I was talking about starting this YouTube channel. When I first started my blog, there would be no way I would ever do a YouTube video. I barely told anyone I even had a blog. And to think of me being on camera, and there was so much in my mind about, not being good, interesting enough, not being pretty enough, a million things. And to then just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. This is 3 years later, when I was finally okay, I've done a few live workshops online, I've done Snapchat, I'm getting used to being on camera and getting good feedback, and you don't need that before you start. But I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And once I started, that fear that I had created for myself, it hasn't completely gone, but just ignoring that fear and doing it anyway, so good. So action cures fear. I love that so much. And the final one that I wanted to talk about is capacity. So I don't know if I need the context. Oh no, I think it's fine. Down here it says capacity is a state of mind, and this is so true as well, that we can really convince ourselves that we don't have as much capacity as we do. And if we are more creative with our time, but also really look at it, and I've spoken about this app before. It's called Moment, and it will tell you how long I can never get this right. It will tell you how long you've been on your phone. And I think this is such a good, like, all it does is just tell you how many minutes and how many times you like picked up your phone. If you have been telling yourself that you are too busy to do whatever it is that you want to do, which could just be a form of self-sabotage, have a look at this just runs in the background. If you are spending hours on your phone a day, it's such a good reminder that you are not too busy to do anything, because you are finding time to spend hours on your phone. So I love just having this running, and then I tend to check it if there's a day I'm feeling really productive. I check it, and normally at the end of the day I've hardly gone on my phone. And if there's a day I'm feeling really drained, I've gone on my phone a lot. And it's not that I felt drained and unenergetic so I decided to go on my phone. It's usually I check my phone heaps, and that constant FOMO and checking makes me feel drained. And when I don't check my phone, which does take discipline and it does take a decision, I'm not going to check my phone until, usually if I do it, I'm doing it till 8 p.m, which is when I walk out of work, and then I just check it on the way to the bus. But I'm so much more productive without that FOMO energy. Because when you're checking social media or checking email or checking whatever, and you're like, oh, have I missed anything? So draining. So capacity is a state of mind. In the book, it's speaking about an example of a mother that has to go to work because of her husband's injury, and that she didn't think she had, pretty sure that's right. Yeah, she didn't think she could work and be at home. As I was saying, this is an olden day book, though it does mention women, but mainly it's men being successful. But it put that aside because it's such a good book. But then once she was forced to find a way to manage full-time work and looking after the house, she could. And it is such a good example that normally we don't think we have time to do something, and then something happens and we have to find time, and we do. So it is such a good reminder in time management and productivity and just life skills in general that capacity is a state of mind. And you know, if we tell ourselves there's only a certain amount we can do in a day, that's all we'll do. If we tell ourselves we can do 10 times that, we'll probably be able to do that. I'm not saying the goal in life is to do more and more and more, but often we use too busy and lack of capacity as an excuse. So I loved that reminder. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed reading this book. I highly recommend it. As I have already said, The Magic of Thinking Big. I picked this up just at Dimmicks because I really love going to the bookstore still. And even though I know I could have just, when I left the bookstore, I could have just gone to Book Depository, which ships to Australia and everywhere free, and bought it for probably half the price. I love the experience of going into a bookstore, so I like to buy the books in the bookstore so that they don't go out of business, so that they stay there, because most bookstores have. So, and I really want there to still be bookstores, so I try to do that to support them. It probably doesn't make that much difference, but you know, that's fine by me. So that's all I really have to share with you about this book. If you have read it, please let me know, or if you're going to read it, please let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please make sure you do. I post a new video every day, except when I'm sick, but now I'm better. I'm also getting back into using my Instagram account a lot more. My Instagram name is smart20s, all spelled out like that. So make sure you're following me there, and yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!